accountability is the key. And anything I could do to help, and that's what I'm running for, to help the people out.
Well, I can be the first one. That's great.
Oh,
So, Mr. Coachman, let's start off with some just basic background information.
hold on,
I don't think
hold
a
on
lot
a
of
minute.
people really.
I want to let you know that
Oh,
I'm recording this call
oh, sure.
on YouTube. I'm just letting you know that,
Oh, that's
so I
fine.
can put it out later. So
Oh, sure. Yeah, I do the same with all my calls just to make sure I can quote you, accurately and warmly. So,
yeah.
and also, I'm not trying to, go out and get anybody. I mean, if you become a member, we gotta have a working relationship for the next 4 years. So,
Right. No, I do it because it helps me when I go back and look at myself and
oh, sure.
to put it out there. So just in case, because not everybody sees my interviews, and I will try to
Right.
get it out to as many people as possible. So before we even get
Sure.
started, and you ask me for my background, let me ask
Yeah.
you yours. Let me let the people know who you
Sure.
are and where you work and
Yeah.
what do you do.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So I'm Michael Ockerling. I'm a government reporter for the North Dakota Monitor. Government reporting, state government, but political stuff too. So election kind of go to. I take a lot of the photos for the organization. North Dakota Monitor is a nonprofit news outlet. Its website, northdakotamonitor.com. And yeah, all our stuff gets posted there for free. It's funded through a series of foundations and donations from people that click the donate button. But yeah, we have a small team here in North Dakota, 3 people in Bismarck, myself, colleague Mary, and Amy Dalrymper, who's the former editor of the Bismarck Tribune. And then we have Jeff Beach over in Fargo, and I think he's at Big Iron, actually, so he's having a lot more fun. But he's in Fargo, and he's coming from Ag Week and was with Forum Communications for a number of years. And so, yeah, we're kind of a new news outlet. Started in November, and yeah, it was a pretty good response. A couple thousand people on our newsletter list, and we put our stories in there. You see the newsletter that comes in your email every morning, that's kind of like the product, the paper that we put out, but
Right.
it's not a newspaper. And so, you're saving on all those layout people and the design people. And so I think it's a good model for where news is going. So it's a good organization, and we're just trying to, get facts out there, be as objective as possible. And yeah, right now I'm excited to write about the gubernatorial candidates, and we're starting with you, sir.
Oh, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah. So, I guess just what can you tell me? Let's start off with just where did you grow up, school, stuff like that.
Okay. I was born in Germany. My father was military. I was born in
Oh,
Germany, lived in Japan. Um, he retired in upstate New York, and we
huh?
moved to Connecticut. So I was pretty much raised
Wow.
in Connecticut. Joined the military as soon as I graduated.
Oh.
Served in the military 20 years.
Oh. What branch and what was your rating?
I was in the Air Force, and I was what you call a missileer. I worked on Minuteman III missiles
Oh,
in
wow.
Wyoming, and in California. I put the destruct packages on the missiles, and we
Wow.
also worked pad refurb. Is after we launched the missiles, we refurbished the missile tube. And then I went to Germany. I
Huh?
worked on ground launch cruise missiles.
Wow.
Did that from 85 to 90, and then I got orders to North Dakota to Grand Forks, where I worked vehicle department, and then my last few years, 5 years, was working codes, which we get codes from NSA, then we divide them up and launch, coded the missiles, handler, and I was an instructor in
Sure.
codes. I did
Wow.
martial arts since 1972, been
You
heavily
said
involved
martial
in,
arts.
yes, I've been in martial arts for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Got my black belt in Taekwondo back in 77.
Oh my gosh.
Learned a lot of the different styles of jujitsu, judo, different styles of kung fu over the years. Involved in local government. I was on the city council here in Larimore for about 8 years.
Huh?
Did a prison ministry for about 14 years. Worked as a correction officer. Really was involved in Fufang,
Huh?
working with as you know, the Chinese trying to come near our military base,
Oh, sure.
and then I was involved in. Actually, I'm involved in some other big things here, bigger than Fufang, and
Yeah.
hopefully within the next couple of weeks that will come out. But
Yeah.
here to serve, very
Huh.
involved in my church, love the people of North Dakota. Got involved in politics, really involved in politics back in, I would say, um, maybe 2006,
Mhm.
and I started saying things, but you know when you see things, but you don't know enough, you just let them go.
Yeah.
But then later on, when I started working with the in the GOP resolution committee, I started fighting for that and saying, hey, look, this is not right. We need to stick with the Constitution. And then after working with years of working with the resolution committee, I
Mhm.
started noticing we are fighting for these resolutions and what we stand on, but a lot of the people that were running for offices within the party was not following the resolution. And I'm like,
Okay.
what's the problem there?
Yeah.
So I started, questioning what's going on here. So I started asking, are you going to follow the resolutions? And people look at me like, dude, that in the Constitution, we just do that just to do that, you know? Um,
Huh.
and I remember back in Fargo, when I was candidating then, and
Uh-huh.
we had a whole bunch of districts there, and I asked, what is a rhino? And they said Republican in name only. I said,
Yeah.
think about that. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Do they really believe and stand for what we believe and stand for? And you can see the people's head nod, no. And I said,
Mhm.
exactly. It says, then why are we keep electing rhinos? And I think to answer that question, one, they're afraid because the rhinos have really empowered or entrenched themselves within the Republican Party.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them, if you look at them, they carry almost socialist, globalist ideals. So
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking, you know what? I served my country for 20 years. I've fought and defended. I will gladly do it
Yeah.
again. And if they wanted to call me up, even at my age, I'm willing to do it. Now I won't be able to run as far. I'm getting smarter. I think they got these golf carts will work a lot better for me. But I will still serve. And I started saying, you know what? If no one's going to believe in the Constitution, because the Constitution is key to our freedom.
Yeah.
No other country, and you could run through your mind, what other country have the Constitution like we do?
Right.
None. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some that have duplicated, but not like on the level as our nation. And that's why you see people leaving other countries coming to the United States because we have something that is different.
Yeah.
And what I see is a lot of people don't understand the purpose of the Constitution. If you follow the Constitution,
Yeah.
the U.S. Constitution and the North Dakota Constitution, 95, I would say 95, 98% of the issues that we have, the problems that we have, would be alleviated.
Uh,
And it would be fixed. So the main thing I'm running on is on the Constitution because it is already laid out. Our plans are already laid out on what the government shouldn't do and what
uh,
they should do.
sure.
And if it doesn't support the people and benefit the people, then those laws should not be passed. But we
Sure.
have a lot of those that are. It's designed to keep government from exploding,
Yeah.
and that's what we have right now. There's a government that's exploding, federally and state. And we have what they would say got off our path. We lost our vision, or we
Yeah.
choose not to follow that vision, or we don't want it because What we're seeing right now, the Almighty Benjamin, not Almighty God, but the Almighty Benjamin is becoming God, and that's what people are falling down and worshiping. And
Sure.
unless people like what you're saying, what you're all about, your organization, and people are like what that stand on the Constitution don't. Our country is going to be no better than any other country,
Sure.
and then the freedoms that we have will be lost. Because I believe once we lose those, we're not going to be able to get them back because they're going to determine to keep us from ever being that have that freedom again. So
Okay.
Mike Coachman is standing in the gap to stand for the people of North Dakota. I can't fix things on a federal level, but I will
Right.
do whatever I can here in the state of North Dakota to start. In my on my signs and on my vehicle, I have
Huh?
Mike Coachman for governor, the heart of the nation, because I
Oh,
believe that we are the heart of the nation. We're the bread. We can do things here in North Dakota that no other state can do,
sure.
but we're not doing it. And
Yeah.
Mike Coachman wants to do that as governor for this great state.
Oh, that's a hell of a start. I like that. So, real quick, can I ask your age, sir?
I am 66.
66, and then it was Grand Forks. Was it 1990, and you've been here ever since?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then are you currently living in the Grand Forks area,
I
or
live in Larimore, little town of Larimore.
little town of Larimore? All right. So yeah, let me dive into a couple of little policy questions here, and I think we'll start with a big one that I think because I believe your lieutenant governor candidate is on the sponsoring committee for this for Measure 4, the property tax measure.
Yes.
I just
Well,
kind of like
yes.
to know your feeling on the property tax measure 4, whether you support it or not, and what you can do as governor to help out with property taxes in the state.
Okay. Again, remember what I said, the Constitution lays a lot of things out. And in the North Dakota Constitution, Article 10, finance and public debt. The legislative assembly shall be prohibited from raising revenue to defray the expense of the state through the levying of tax on the assessed value or real or personal property. Right there, it says the state is not supposed to have property tax right there,
Yeah.
even in the U.S. Constitution. That's what freedom is. What people fail to realize, freedom is always attached to the land. So if you don't own your land, are you free?
Right. Yeah.
You see, that's why property tax is wrong because it takes away the people's freedom. There's a couple of things that because you're going to probably go into this other area dealing with property tax, but what I'm finding, what people are saying about property tax, you listen to them. One, they don't want you free, and it doesn't matter if you have. Imagine you have a person who has two chains on their legs, one on the left leg and a chain on the right leg.
Sure.
The one on the left leg is a blue chain, and the one on the right leg is a red chain.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter how they give you property release, all they're doing is adding another link to that chain,
Okay.
but you're not free.
Right.
I want to
Yeah.
free the people because if you own your land, even after generation, it's yours. It's yours. You paid hundreds of thousands of some people with millions of dollars on their property. And if you don't pay it in 3 years, they take it from you and
Yeah.
people pick it up for pennies on the dollar. Not only that, they always keep talking about we needed to fund the schools, which I can talk about that if you want to go on that one. But they're failing to look at the other end. They're forcing people with fixed incomes and your elderly into a decision that most people don't want to discuss. Pay your property tax, eat, or get my medicines.
Sure.
And that's what they don't want to talk about that. But if they own their property, then it's a decision of what should I eat and how much med should I get?
Yeah.
Because at least they know they have a peace of mind knowing that they have a place to go to every night. So even if they don't get their meds and just have minimum out, they have a roof over their head, and that what they can call home. And
Yeah.
right now, they're taking home. I was just looking at up in near Cavalier. My friend Kit, she put showed me article of one whole newspaper ads, whole news newspaper where all the county was coming after came after all these people with property tax, and they're taking them. A whole page. A
Wow.
whole page. That should never happen in this state. This
Right.
shouldn't have never happened in this nation. Our property is our property. Why do the state need to take people's property if they can't pay it in 3 years?
Yeah.
No reason. No reason. So I guess you're understanding where I'm coming from as far as the
I
property
do. It
tax.
sounds like you're very supportive of Measure 4.
Very supportive.
Yeah. So as governor, let's kind of drill down on that just a little bit. It would freeze 2024 spending levels for the local subdivisions, cities, and counties, and then they would get kind of a lump sum from the state, which would be based on their 2024 budget. Is that the way to go? Having the state kind of dole out that money, or I mean, it seems like I don't know. I think a lot of people in rural North Dakota would worry about Bismarck handling their finances up in the northwestern part of the state accurately.
No, I don't believe Bismarck should be handling most of the county's money. I think they leave it back to them. Now, to alleviate a lot of this, because people say, okay, what do you do now? Okay,
Yeah.
Mike Coachman has a plan for a lot of things, okay? And follow me on this. First of all, what I would do is, one, besides get rid of the property tax, I would definitely encourage a lot of companies come into North Dakota. Why? Because we have no property tax. The biggest thing I see in all the major cities, what? Company comes, they ask the city, the county, hey, give us 5 years of non-tax, and then what happens at the end of 5 years?
Yeah.
They leave. And we all know that, and we keep playing the same game over and over again. But now, if you eliminate property tax, and I was believing it was the Beacon report that was done in 2012. I don't know if you have seen that.
No.
But look up the Beacon report, and it was done here in North Dakota, and it was show that we will increase our revenue for the state almost, I believe it was 5 times over,
Oh.
because there'd be no property tax. Now, with that, I would encourage a lot of like gun manufacturers. Believe me, I'm a very big Second Amendment person. I would bring all these different companies into North Dakota and not have them move to big cities, but I have them to see if they will relocate into the rural area, because I want to bring life back into these small towns. These small towns of 50, 75, 100, 1,000. I want to bring life back into them. Because that is the heart, again, the heart of North Dakota is our farming community and the infrastructure of these small towns. We need to put life, we need to pump life back in these small towns. You will not hear none of the candidates this year or years ago about bringing life back into the little towns. They were talking about, well, Bismarck is this, Fargo is this. We're bringing big industry and Willis, but they're not doing anything for the small towns
In the middle.
at all. And that's what I want to do, is work and bring life to the small towns. Because when you start bringing life to the small towns, you bring life to the state. We have enough production here, and as far as helping the counties, as far as funding, in October, Burgum mentioned that we have billions of dollars left over from the legacy fund, and we need, it shouldn't be sitting in it. We should be using it into infrastructure in our town. So again, these dirt roads, we need to pave them. We have the money to do that. We have the technology. When I was in Germany, they had roads that were still built by the Romans. When the Germans before World War II have roads, then I'm not talking just the Autobahn, I'm talking your back roads. They're still in excellent condition from before World War II.
Wow.
And we're still, every time you turn around between Grand Forks and Fargo and whatever, the roads are being tore up every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
My friend, that should not be so with the technology we have. And we can build very decent roads, secondary, throughout the whole state. What
Sure.
makes it, which in turn makes it easier for these companies who may have to transport a lot of their vegetables,
Yeah.
whatever they need to do, whatever their product is, to market. Because the first thing they look at is, how can I get my product
Yeah.
from a small town
From here
to
to
the
there.
city?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if we build decent or excellent roads, that eliminates one of the issues of moving the product. So therefore, you're going to pump life in there. Not only that, it makes it easier for people from other states that want to move to North Dakota to not have to keep going down a dirt road and wondering if they're going to go off in the side of the ditch or something like that. But you have decent roads where people can travel and not have to lose an axle. So that's
But
my
I guess
thought.
like the argument is like a lot of those roadworks in counties and cities that's done at those levels. So what if they have like a big road project come up? They don't have the money. They
Well,
have to get this one.
initially, with the millions or billions, actually billions of dollars that we have,
Okay.
we can do that like a one good deal because
Sure.
it's our money anyway. It's revenue that the state has created, that not the state has created, but we the people have created. It
Yeah.
needs to go back to the people. So we need to do a one time for the counties. This is it. Now it's up to you to maintain these roads.
Yeah.
And that's where when you start having people start moving in companies, then they can do that. How else can they do it? Well, it's easy. We need to build a couple of gas refineries. Why is that important? There's no reason why we, as North Dakota residents, pumping, making all of this gas, paying $3 a gallon.
Yeah,
As a,
I just saw it in the Twin Cities. It's $2.59. I saw it at a suburban gas station in the Twin Cities.
you know why? It's election year.
Uh,
But that's
yeah.
but we shouldn't be that at all. We could be less than $1 a gallon. If you're a North Dakota resident, you should be less than $1 a gallon. Okay? All you got to do is just show your ID, put it into the pump, whatever. We can work all things out. And if you're for people out of state, $1.50. So you get a lot of Canadians. You got a lot of people traveling from the East Coast, West Coast. They would drive through North Dakota. Why? Because our gas is so cheap.
Oh, sure.
And therefore, we have gas tax that we can use it. So for us, it's $1. For everybody else, it's $1.50. You got 50 cents a gallon gas tax that help fund anything else that the state needs.
Sure.
We only got a population of 780,000. Think
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we got billions. If you look at the math,
Yeah, let's kind of go into that next because that was one of my questions. It's about the oil and gas taxes that we're issuing and all that. That surplus profit goes into the legacy fund, and like you said, it's just sitting there. So, what do you think about our oil and gas tax structure and those funds?
it needs to be redone. It needs to be totally redone. And there's a
What that
lot
look
more
like?
to it because no, I'm not going to go there yet.
Sure.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I was just going to say, like, well, what is Michael Coachman's as governor? What do those gas taxes look like? What do those profits and those legacy funds look like? And what do you think is the way forward?
I think whatever profit we have, we fund whatever we need to do for the people. I've been here since I've been in the state. You hear we got millions and billions of dollars, and we hear it every time.
Yeah.
But I asked the questions at my meet and greets, and I said, "Has anybody been a recipient of any of those millions and billions of dollars? Raise your hand." And you know what? You know what the consistency is?
Yeah.
No one raised their hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's just right now it's just sitting. it's collecting interest, and they kind of shave off the top of the interest. We can kind of put that into the next budget, and we'll do it again. But you don't think that money is for the taxpayers of North Dakota?
It should be for the
Spent
taxpayers
wisely.
of North Dakota, and we need to put it to use to help the people of North Dakota. But what they do is they keep saying, okay, we're going to keep that money, and then we're going to keep draining your purse. No, that is not helping. The people of North Dakota are hurting.
Yeah,
The only ones that are not hurting is the people that have a million plus dollars in their account, but the average person don't.
yeah,
And I think there's a disconnect. There's a major disconnect because we are not seeing it. Because if they keep, why they keep raising taxes? Why they keep doing it if we get billions of dollars?
yeah.
They're trying to kill the people. I'm going to put it out there. They are. They're trying to kill them one way or another, financially, spiritually. Because I tell you what, when you can't meet the needs, and as a husband, if I can't provide for my family, it makes me feel like I'm a failure.
Mm,
And if you're a single dad or a single mom, more so. And then you start to do things that you normally wouldn't because the state puts you in that area. That money should be going back to the people. It
sure.
should be going back to the people one way or another to make their life a lot easier because that's what government is for. People don't realize government is to help the people, not the people to help the government.
Sure.
We got the pyramid upside down.
Sure. So
We
you're thinking maybe like an Alaskan kind of oil check
we
that they
well
get.
we can't do a gifting because of our constitution, but
Oh,
there's
okay.
things within that we can. Like I said, we can have a refinery and have lower gas.
Yeah.
We can do a major project on all the roads. We can do certain things that would not be gifting but benefiting the people. That is the key. We can do programs as far as like I would say like with our veterans going around helping other veterans and first responders because they deal with post-stress disorder. So we can do programs to help help veterans or first responders who had different dealing with traumas. There's a lot of different things, but we don't need to keep the money. In other words, we're going to keep having money because we have the oil.
Yeah.
So just give it back to the people. Why are we hurting it?
Yeah.
We're not. You know what? And it's like I'm keeping your money, but I can't let you know how much money that is really going to you and how much I'm really getting.
Right.
I'm gonna be transparent. I'm gonna let people know this is what we got, where we're going, what we're doing. I want people involved in my regime. And one of the things that I have been telling people when I am governor, that I will probably spend a lot of my time going around the state meeting with people. And not just in your big cities, but I'm talking about your rural area because
Yeah.
you know what the most precious resource that this state has?
Oh, tell me it's people.
Thank you. You're the first one that came out and said it. It is, and
Yeah.
it is, and it's not oil, and it's not beef and farming. And it's people, and I want to meet with people, and I believe, especially with all the stuff that we have from COVID and all this other stuff, they need to meet their leaders. They need to talk
Yeah.
with their leaders. They need to share their heart. Even though I may not be able to fix a lot of things, but they still need to know that their voice is heard. Not only
Sure.
that, there's a lot of wisdom out in these rural areas. There's a
Oh,
lot of people who have seen a lot of things. You know, when you look at back in the 30s and 40s, somebody who graduated with an eighth grade education, when you look at what they graduated with, it's almost like a second year college. If you
yeah.
look at what they have done and what you had to do that. That's what I'm about. I want to tap into the most valuable resource we have, and that's people. I want to hear. I want to use them. I want to employ them. I want the older people who may have retired for the second time to retire for the third time if they choose to. If they want to go on vacation, great. If they want to work, great. Because what happened is when people have a purpose, they live longer.
Yeah. I've seen that in, well, I know it's anecdotal, but I've seen that in my own life. I mean, someone retires or they, they kind of take a step back. And if they're not active, it just kind of whittles them down a little bit.
Yes. And I want to bring the life back into towns of where everybody would just sit and, add softball games like they're doing now. But it's right now, I'm seeing schools like even my school in Lamar, they're combining three or four, five, six different schools just to make up a football team. Why? Because they're dying. They can't. It's
enrollment. Yeah.
We have to fix that. And Mike Coachman wants to fix that enrollment in the rural school, put life back into it, bring 4-H back into full force. All these different things, community involvement and music. Just want to really help the small towns.
Good. Yeah. So let's kind of move a little bit here to let's talk workforce, culture war issues. Do you think what do you think about culture war issues, and are they important?
Only if you make them.
Sure.
Okay, it's usually most people like to keep it's like funding a war. If you support both sides with your arms, as long as you got a war, you're making money. People don't forget, again, going back to the concept, it's we the who?
We the people.
That's right. So where's the culture wars at? It's we the people. When you follow the Constitution, it's everybody. And when it's everybody, one flag, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which I stand, one nation under God. You keep those as your focus point. It's not a culture war. You might have been brought up different. I don't care if you're from East Coast, West Coast, and you're both white. You're still different because Bostonians are different from people from LA. You got people from down Texas who are different from people in North Dakota. You always got that. It's learning to realize this is where our coming on. This is our flag. When I was in the military, it didn't matter where you were from, rich, poor, black, white, or whatever. We had the same uniform on. We marched together.
Yeah. Yeah.
We served together.
I should also say I'm a Navy guy. The Navy, 2011, 2015. I was also in Japan, Sasebo. I was in Sasebo for a little over 2 years. Big deck amphib, Bonham Richard, LHD-6.
Okay.
But yeah, that was where I learned how to take photos, actually, and become a journalist, which I've obviously stuck with.
There you go. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for yours, sir. Let's kind of, so like you said, I mean, this is for everybody, and if everybody's, all on the same team and pushing in the same direction and kind of saluting the flag.
Let me ask you this. When you're on your ship, did you have one group of people in the front, another group of people in the back, another people on the lower deck, and another group of people?
It was everywhere and everywhere in between.
Exactly. And that's how that ship functioned, because if everybody was different, then they can demand different things. And also, that ship is just sitting in the harbor or the middle of the ocean because everybody's demanding whatever. And I had this question brought up to me before. I had it for the Nigerians. I had it for the Spanish. I had it with the gay community. I had it with the Native Americans. Everybody said, "What can you do for us?" I said, "You don't understand." And I shared with them the same thing, that we are people. We march. And I told them about the flag, and I told them about being on the same uniform. You know what they all said?
Yeah.
They all said, "I like that. You're right." Yeah. Because it's not about us. It's about everybody working together. And I believe the most powerful tool we have is when everybody works together. There's nothing we cannot do as a group or as a state to accomplish anything. And when they say, "Well, what about this problem?" We have overcome some of the greatest difficulties in our nation history. When you look at with the Wright brothers finally before it was hot air balloons, but from the time the Wright brothers flew their plane, look at the technology
Oh yeah.
from early 1900 till
Yeah, it's
today.
120 years. We've
Yes,
come a long way.
we have did a lot. And you're saying we can't solve a simple tax problems? You
Yeah.
see, we have mathematic geniuses and stuff like that. You saying we can't solve whatever the issue? No, we do. It's the fact that people do not that are in power do not want to, and people want to keep everybody under. Again, I'm going to say hooked up to their chain so they
Yeah.
can't. But I believe that you can see. I will give the people the opportunity, the they need by presenting and removing those chains. And when we remove those chains off the people's legs, there's nothing. I believe that people can come down and say, look, they're using, and I'm on my Facebook right now, and I'm showing the U.S. Constitution and state Constitution. They could come together and fix any issue that we have when they know
Yeah.
what the guidelines are. And when they do that, what problems can we not fix?
Sure.
We rebound from Pearl Harbor. We have rebounded from a civil war. There's nothing we can't bound it from 9/11. Tell me
Yeah.
something we can't rebound from. And you're talking about this is really small issue. It's big in
Yeah.
people's eyes. But when you come
Yeah.
together, it's really a small issue because you come and sit down and we have a common flag and common purpose. And when you do that, that's how you get the synergy. That's how your
Yeah.
synergy comes together and we can fix things. And you probably being in the Navy know that you had some issues on your ship that
Oh yeah.
you like, hey, that's not in the tech orders.
Yeah.
But the chief go, what can we do? Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad you
That's
asked,
exactly
Chief.
what happened.
I'm glad you asked. We got some technology, and you fixed it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you couldn't fix. And then you just put a form in and say, hey, look, this is how when this happens, and some people got money off of it. This is, but you know you're going to adapt and overcome and fix all things, and that's what you do. You give
Well, that's
people
what
opportunity.
well, that's what the government should do. Is I think exactly what you're saying.
I want people so involved in my government as governor that when I turn left, they know I'm going to turn left and or turn right or whatever or stop because they're so involved and talk
Yeah.
about it. I should not be afraid to talk about any and every issue, and I should be able to give a response. And if somebody want to take 10, 15 minutes to speak and tell me their grief or their grievances, I'm there
Yeah.
for it. That's what I'm there for.
No, that's good. So, Mr. Coach, last legislative session, a bunch of bills go through. Are there any that you didn't like that you would have vetoed as governor? I mean, everybody says, "Oh, I wouldn't have supported that," or whatever. Now we're in hindsight. But are there things that you would have vetoed?
That was asked. I mean, I went, I would, this is what I would do.
Sure.
Okay, as far as vetoing, I would go through, does it or does it not violate the U.S. Constitution and the North Dakota Constitution? I would start there.
Okay.
Because anything else is your personal opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
Think about it. Oh, I would vote to veto that. Just like you hear people talk about, hey, look, I'm not supporting property tax because this here. But what does the Constitution state?
Sure.
Because if you start getting into personal opinions, that's all it is. What does our Constitution states? Does it violate it or not?
Yeah, it's that guiding principle that keeps everybody on the same kind of factual footing. And if it goes into that, it's obviously good. If it's outside of that, I see what you're saying. Okay. What about another big topic, and it's been brought up, I think, at every debate over the primary season and now the general election season, and we'll start it now. Workforce issues. I mean, I'm sure you've seen stories. North Dakota has between 15 and 30,000 open jobs. We don't really know because they don't put the multiple postings in that one job. So there could be 10 open jobs for the one posting. So how do we get more people to come live here, work here, and how do we address these workforce shortages? How would you do it?
Well, if you knew that your taxes are going up, property taxes going up out of the wazoo, just like California, would you come here?
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. That's another reason you want to get rid of the property tax. Plus, you need to, you know, I think one of the other workforce issues that people are not going to talk about is our law enforcement.
Okay.
I have a good friend that was in law enforcement, and the law enforcement here, especially the sheriff's department, somewhat of the highway patrol, their funds or their pay has not really gone up a lot.
Sure.
When I was on the city council, what back in 2000, I think it was 2006, I think when we hired a police chief, the, the they're paying that now here in 2024 the same. No
Wow.
really cost of living, and when they do, they take a lot of the taxes out, or they're not running their hours right. So
Yeah.
going your to your question, I would take some of that money, especially for law enforcement, and again, try to one help with that gap. If I can't do it
Yeah.
that way, what I definitely do is eliminate personal income tax and um, state taxes, and even state somehow to benefit our law enforcement. And the
Yeah.
reason I say it's so important that we need to take care of our law enforcement, as you see, we have a lot of illegal immigrants that are coming up through the states, and we're going to need that. I know right now, law law enforcements are working long hours, and I could tell you,
Yeah.
you being
Because
in
they're
the
short.
military,
There's short people.
yeah, and you're gonna burn yourself out. We need
Yeah.
to change. Hey, look, an 8 hour day is an 8 hour day. They still have a family, and they keep forgetting that. So they have to work overtime just to try to
Yeah.
make ends meet. And even then, their paycheck is being cheated. We need to come together and fix that. Now, going back to some of your other plans, as far as this here again, eliminate property tax. I would give people an opportunity to bring more opportunities for farming.
Sure.
I think a lot of people would like to do that. Now, this is another benefit. People, I would go to the big box stores like Walmart, Target, and say, look, we will give you a tax break too, or work with you, but you need to buy North Dakota products. You need to buy North Dakota beef.
Oh,
You need to buy
okay.
North Dakota tomatoes. You need to buy North Dakota corn. You need to buy whatever we produce in North Dakota. You need to have it in your stores. That should be the number one place you should get your products, not from other countries, not from other states,
Sure.
from North Dakota. Now, if you want to sell our products, our beef and stuff to like Minnesota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, you're more than welcome to do that,
Sure.
because it's what is that doing? It's helping out the people here in North Dakota.
Yeah, it puts North Dakota in front of the line, really.
Right. And now and also you're talking about, okay, bringing people here.
Yeah.
You're, I think a lot of times we put restrictions on individuals that are way harder than need to be, or they creating a job opening. So where unemployment, as it may be low, it's because they're forcing people out. We got teachers here in our schools that are quitting, and they
Yeah.
can't make ends meet. We have to do something where the pay, one, if you drop a lot of what they have to pay as property tax, gas, whatever it is, that's going to be an incentive.
Yeah, more money
Because,
in their pocket.
so if you got zero property tax and our gas, if you're a North Dakota resident, dollar a gallon or less, why would you not want to work here?
Sure. No, yeah,
And
absolutely.
one of the
Well, and I
things,
think a lot of people will say that, oh, well, there's the child care barrier. I can't find affordable child care, so I have to stay home with the child because they're not of school age yet or whatever, so I can't work. And so some people are trying to, there's some school districts that would be like, okay, we're going to have district child care for teachers. And so they're kind of giving extra benefits to employees. Do you think North Dakota should be incentivizing businesses to do stuff like that? And is
so
that going to legacy funds too?
do we support capitalism, socialism, or communism? You
Sure.
pick.
Yeah.
Capitalism is you make it. You do, but first you have to do is fix a lot of things. The state has to level the ground, and again, get rid of the property tax, do a lot of
Sure.
things that they would need to do, and then those counties and those schools can do a lot of things that they normally couldn't do. In other
Okay.
words, again, we're cutting the chain. We're not adding another chain, and I
Okay.
don't want to add a chain and say, okay, this is helping you out. You can come up with ideas. We will give you suggestions, but we don't want government dictating you. That's the problem. We want the power is really with we the people. Then you have your cities and your counties and your townships. We need the power back to them so they can't depend on Bismarck on everything. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, because I don't want to go into a socialist type mindset. I want to increase whatever they need to do, and we need to make sure that whatever I do, or the legislation do, that it follows the Constitution. Will it better the people? If there's things that will better the people, I will support it. Okay, if it doesn't violate the U.S. Constitution and the North Dakota Constitution, and it betters the people, that's the key right there. If it betters the people, I will support it.
Okay. What about let's see here. What else do I got? Summit Pipeline. Let's talk Summit Pipeline. That's a controversial issue. What do you think about CO2 capture? It sounds like it's it'll help with enhanced oil recovery, and it's a good way to kind of not let that greenhouse gas out into the air. What do you think about the Summit Pipeline and CO2 carbon capture in general?
Well, the carbon plants need to live on, and any place where you have high carbon, like when there's forest fires and stuff like that. What do farmers do at a certain time of year? They burn their fields because they need that carbon and everything. But the funny thing is, in our hold on a moment. I'm gonna read this. Hold on a minute. 1 moment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Never mind. I left it in the car.
Oh,
So anyway, as I was saying, in our resolutions, Republican resolutions, I think it was item number 53. It says that we don't support CO2 carbon pipeline. And here we have a bunch of Republicans supporting what they said they
didn't support. Yeah.
didn't support. That's another issue. So no. Another thing is they're using the public domain type thing. It doesn't add up.
Eminent domain.
Eminent domain, yes, eminent domain. So excuse me on that. Eminent domain has to benefit a lot of different. It has a certain criteria, and it doesn't meet those criteria. And right now we have judges and lawmakers who are really circumventing those requirements for eminent domain. And again, people's property is the most precious thing, and you just can't take it just for your own will. And that is that bothers me, is you're taking people's land without their permission.
Yeah.
And the requirement, and I believe it's in our Constitution, it talks about, they said, well, if you don't, we're going to give you pennies and dollars. No, I believe if the state or any other company needs to take someone's land, you're going to have to pay dearly for it, because that's been years somebody owns it for years. But again, it has to meet that requirement. So we're talking a lot of money, and I had a formula that maybe one day I share that it would take, because you're talking people's history, people's lives, and even though it may, and as far as with the CO2,
Yeah.
that is a dangerous thing in concentrated levels, and they still don't give the report on that, and that could kill hundreds, if not thousands, of people and cattle.
Yeah.
So no, I don't support it.
Okay. Um, and then, I thought it'd be nice to kind of close with, I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to write about the lieutenant governor candidates, but your lieutenant governor candidate, it's Lydia, is it Gaselli?
Everybody
Right.
slashes her name really bad. I think when she hears this, she's just going to squinch.
Yeah,
Gasly.
how's it pronounced?
Gasly.
Gasly. Okay. So we got Lydia Gasly. What can you tell North Dakotans about Lydia Gasly?
Oh my goodness, she is probably going to be the best lieutenant governor this state has ever had. She is involved in all things. She fights for the homeschoolers. She's fighting right now, even in Harvey, against the school board, against the legal stuff that they're doing. She is so involved in our state as far as standing up for home births, for helping with drinking with the milk. Before you couldn't drink milk.
The unpastured or oh God, I'm
Yes,
blanking on it.
she was heavily involved in that. She's also the chairperson of the Election Integrity Act, which is huge too. And people need to realize our voice is in a vote, and if your voice is not heard or cheapened, then you really don't have a voice. And she's passionate about that. I think you're going to see one of the neatest first ladies that is not just in there for the show, but in there for the people. She is a great people. Even if you don't get to do an article with her, you need to talk with her.
Sure.
You just need to just talk with her and just go, I might change my mind.
Right.
Because you're not gonna get, just like with me, you're not gonna get a political answer. You're gonna get the down and dirty, because that's what we do. We're down there. We serve the people. We're about the people. I think you're gonna find out, and I feel sorry for you, but you're gonna get political answers, and you're probably not gonna get nothing. It's like nailing down Jello. But that's what we're seeing tonight. That's what we're seeing these days, and across the nation. No one wants to just stand up and state the truth. This is what it's all about. And Mike Coachman and Lydia are going to, again, run on the Constitution. Why? And I'm going to keep harping that. Why? Because if we don't follow the Constitution, what do we have? What kind of state are we? What kind of nation are we if we don't follow the Constitution?
Yeah.
We're no better than a third world country. And that oath that you took means nothing if this fails.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say that both you and Miss Gasly are pretty hands off, and if it's not in the Constitution, very minimal government intervention? Would that be fair?
Oh yeah, we're gonna do first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna do that. First thing we're gonna do. We got to clean house, and that is corruption. We're gonna audit everything.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna audit everything, because we need to know where the money's going. It's like you're moving into a house, but you don't want a house inspection. The guy's telling you, you don't need a house inspection. As is, like a car. It's just like, hey, take this car, but it's a brand new Mercedes. I still going to have my mechanic look at it. Sure. I'm going to do a serious audit and find out where the funds are going and start cleaning house. Because until we clean house and know where things are going, nothing's going to be done in the state because we're going to have, it's like trying to hold a whole bunch of water in a spaghetti strainer.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to do that. I think I learned some things from Trump when he was in office. So, and that is to really check where money's going. And I want to make sure. And if that organization or that state funded or entity is really not beneficial to the people, it's gone.
Sure.
And if
Yeah.
it's really doesn't support really by the Constitution or at least the Century Code, it's gone. And the
Okay.
money's going back to the people. I'm serious. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to take the burden, the yoke off the people, the chains, because we're exhausted. There's a lot of people. COVID really drained a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I have talked with a lot of people. They're hoping government and hope in general is really low.
Yeah.
Rightly so. But here, I want to restore hope. I want to be proud of my state. I want to be proud to serve again. I want to be part of something that is good and not hurting people. And we have
Yeah.
too many programs that are hurting people. We have too many things. We have too many people who are out for their own, who are, I would say, um, tools of the Chinese
Yeah.
republic. And I'm not. And I can ask this right now. You can ask the other candidates.
Oh, I'm gonna.
You can ask them, are you compromised? Are you
Oh.
brought? I can tell you right now, I am not purchased, I'm not brought, and I'm not compromised. And you notice I didn't hesitate.
Yeah.
I am not compromised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've got plenty. Just one more thing I had in my notes that it's going to be a hot button issue because it's the first kind of major election since Roe v. Wade was overturned, and it can be really short. Do you think North Dakota's abortion rules are too restrictive, too liberal, or just about right?
Let me tell you, I believe in the Bible. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. He's
Oh,
my King of Kings, and I believe that life begins at the moment of conception.
okay.
I believe that unless the life of the mother is endangered, it's probably the only thing. But as far as people who are pregnant because of rape and incest, they're people too.
Yeah.
And if they want, we need to revamp our adoption program or make sure they go to a family member or a different family member or whatever. But that's my stand. And I know Lydia is the same way. We believe that life begins at the moment of conception because life is precious. Remember, the most vital resource we have is people. And if
Yeah.
we start saying, well, we can abort it, then you're not looking at life as precious. I don't believe in assisted suicide for elderly. I believe that we could do whatever we can. We have the technology to make people's lives better. Again, only reason a lot of people are the elderly are dying or have needed that because they have no hope, no purpose. You give them that purpose, I believe you can get another, 20 years, 30 years.
My
Me and
grandmother
my
was working until 92. I
Yeah.
mean, as a court reporter. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, see what I'm talking about? I mean, myself, I'm thinking about 120, 130.
That's awesome. Well, sir, I've got. I can't believe that this took an hour. I really didn't mean to take an hour of your time. But I really appreciate it.
No. And if you need to talk to me more, you're more than welcome because I'm here to serve. I am here for you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
No,
if you want to
I
do
really
follow
appreciate
up,
it.
if you want to
Yeah,
do follow up, do follow up.
Yeah, I'm gonna text you my email. I'm gonna need. Well, I would love if you have like a good headshot, and if you have any campaign photos. I would love to have them for the story.
Okay.
Especially a headshot. I definitely need a headshot of you.
All right.
So yeah, I'll send you my email and shoot that over to me, and then I'll get this written. Not sure when we're going to start rolling them out, but God, I've got plenty to work with.
Well, you're welcome. Send it to my other phone.
Yeah, I will. I'll text that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Coachman. You have a good rest of your day, sir.
You too. God bless and have a great day. And again, thank you for your service.
Oh, you too, sir. Have a good one.
Bye. Okay. I don't know how to stop it.